This will be an introductory lesson to Greek mythology. We will be introducing 12 mythological gods, then we will be highlighting the geography and the culture of the Greek. Where the Greek live. Many cities were protected by stone walls. Inside the walls, the land was occupied by private homes. There were many temples and workshops. In the middle of the city was a marketplace called an aragoa. Around the marketplace were rows of shops and walkways called stoas. The seasons and the climate. In the summer, it is very hot and dry and averages about 80 degrees Fahrenheit. In the winter season, rain is most commonly found and averages about 40 degrees Fahrenheit. With these types of seasons, this restricts crops in many ways to grapes and olives. It also limits the type of animals to sheep and goats. On the other hand, this is ideal for growing crops like wheat and barley. The Greeks also built boats to fish and to trade what they had. Who were the Greek? The ancient Greek were very similar to our modern day families. Typically, the head of a household was the husband, and the wife ran the household and raised the children. In more affluent families, the wife supervised the slaves, who looked after the children and did most of the work. Marriages were usually arranged. Families consisted of 2 to 3 children because of the expense of raising them. Sounds familiar. Education. Only children of citizens received an education. Most girls did not attend school and most often were homeschooled. Most learned practical skills from a parent or a slave. They believed that physical education was very important. Many children, even girls, were taught to dance and athletics. This was to have brave soldiers and fit mothers of soldiers. Higher education consisted of the study of law, medicine, and philosophy. In the 300s BC, Plato founded a school in Athens known as the Academy. Plato's most brilliant student was Aristotle. Who they worshipped. The Greeks believed in many gods. The gods were similar to humans, but immortal and very strong. Each god represented a force of nature, a profession, or an activity, and was responsible for a particular city. Heroes consisted of another category. Heroes were the sons or daughters of a god and a mortal. Greeks believed that heroes were the founders of cities and the origin of families. The Greeks invented stories about the gods and heroes, called myths and legends. Each family had a small altar at home which was devoted to the goddesses of hearth and of death. There were many religious feasts for every important event in daily life. For example, there was a specific ritual for birth, marriage, and death. Many Greek citizens carried out common rites. They offered the gods theater performances and sport competitions such as the Olympic Games. Artists and athletes always entrusted their talent, ability, and strength to the gods. What they ate and used to cook with. Diets consisted of wheat and barley, which were used to make breads, cakes, and puddings. They also ate a variety of fruits and vegetables. Their main source of protein were eggs, poultry, and fish. Animals gave them dairy and wool for clothing while they were alive, and meat in death. They used olive oil in place of butter, and they sweetened their food with honey. They also drank large amounts of wine. What they wore. They wore loose belted garments of linen or wool called shinton. Men's shinton hung to their knees, and women's fell to the ankles. In cold weather, Greeks draped a cloak called himten over their shoulders and arms. Sandals were their chief footwear. One of their kings. The Greek had many great leaders, but Alexander the Great single-handedly changed the nature of the ancient world in little more than a decade. He was born in Macedonia, July 356 BC. He was educated by Aristotle. He inherited his power in 336 BC, a very powerful, volatile kingdom. Once he dealt with his enemies at home, he set out to conquer the massive Persian Empire. Alexander the Great was only 25 years old. He was a leader, a king, overlord of Asia Minor, and a pharaoh of Egypt. At this time, he became known as the Great King of Persia. In his capacity as a king, he is a commander, a politician, scholar, explorer, founded over 71 cities, and created an empire that stretched across 3 continents and covered around 2 million square miles. What kind of government? Government varied among ancient Greek city-states. Democracy was introduced in Athens in 508 BC. They had democracy, monarchy, and oligarchy. Athens' council was made up of 500 men. They proposed new laws which were debated in an assembly held every 10 days, and we'll get more into that at a later time. With a country full of diverse ideals and beliefs that included a rich network of strong people that ruled for many years and would give us many myths and legends that we are still writing and talking about today. It is no wonder we still want to learn more about their culture and their history.